Hello, Zen Divas, and welcome to another episode of the podcast. I am here with my big fluffy Mickey sweater. Not because I'm Disney obsessed, although I am, but we have another ice storm here in New Brunswick. Spring ain't springing. I thought, you know what? Like my chakras are aligned. I am going to manifest some sunshine. So I brought out my patio furniture last week. And I was like, surely this will be what'll give Mother Nature the memo. And she didn't get the memo. Or she just hates me. I don't know. But ever feel that way? You're trying to manifest something and you're like, even though you get into alignment and you do all the things and just life throws you a curveball, it happens sometimes. And that's how I had been feeling for a while. So let's just go through a little story time here, and I'm going to take you on a little journey with me. Also, I am still fighting some sort of allergic reaction skin thing. So if you're catching this on YouTube instead of just podcast platforms, yes, there's redness to my face, but the irony is that I made a big declaration that I was relaunching this and I was going to redo it. And I really wanted to do with the podcast to also have it on YouTube because I know some people, like when you can see someone, it's like you're having a conversation with a friend. And like I want you to sit with me and have a conversation with me. I want us to chat. Like I call them like, see the energy I have for my podcast is more like I live by the beach. So we're going for a long walk on the beach and we're sharing like these deep wisdom soul sister kind of chats. That's what I had in mind. And I wanted to put that on YouTube. And then like this whole skin thing came, and normally I'd have been like, it's a sign to not do the thing. Like it's a sign that I'm not meant to relaunch the podcast or the Zen Diva brand. Or I would have made excuses. Well, then I'll start it once like my eyes aren't all swollen and puffy. But sometimes, and here's where like science meets spirit, right? Sometimes it's not telling you that it's not time. Sometimes it is. Like you'll know it in your bones, like really not time. But sometimes it is the thing you have to do. But then your body's responding or circumstances respond to see, like, are you really committed? Are you committed to the thing you said you were going to do? Are you going to do the thing? Are you committed to this new vision that you are aligning yourself with, right? You send out your desire to the universe. You send out your rocket of desire. And then you trust that it's happening. But then when obstacles come, are you then self-sabotaging? Are you giving your power away to those obstacles? Or are you taking your power back and saying, no, this is what I want. So therefore I will show up. And when it comes to physical body illness, I think, again, I am taking the scientific approach to this. So I'm doing like the antihistamines and I'm, being mindful of what I put on my face and washed all my pillowcases, all the science-based things that one could do. However, I am also looking at from a spiritual perspective, what could this mean? And if I believe, if I show up anyways, if I show up uncomfortable, it'll go away. I really believe that. I believe that this will go away because from a vibrational standpoint, I'm shifting and I'm taking back my power and I'm saying, I'm doing this anyways. And even like if you have goals or anything like that, like, do you do something and like, I'm going to do it scared. I'm scared, but I'm going to do it anyways. And that's a little story time I want to have with you today is it's a story about signs from spirit. So a few weeks ago, we were on vacation. We went to Mexico. And I always like to have, no matter the vacation, whether it's like a soul retreat or an actual vacation, I set the intent that it's going to be soulful. Like any of you like that when you travel, it's almost like you're downloading this new information or you come back and you're like this new version of you or something has like downloaded for you. So that's the intent that I set. And I was like, what do I want to manifest or what do I want clarity on? So I invited my dad. My dad has died, by the way. My dad has passed. He's crossed over. I call him Sky Daddy. And what started all of that, if you're new here, was when I first started mediumship. My dad was still alive. And he'd say, Cindy, there are, like, if you're doing this publicly, there's going to be critics. You have to be okay with that. And I was like, I have a hard time with critics. Like, I'm a people pleaser, recovering people pleaser. And I said, I don't know. I'm not sure I'm going to know how to handle that. And he used to say, he's like, well, Cindy, you just tell them that not that long ago, people believed the earth was flat. And then science caught up and we realized that it was not flat. And he says, if people tell you that there's zero evidence to what you're doing, they're not wrong, but it could just be that there's no scientific evidence yet. Because a lot of the times, the synchronicities, the messages, they're like, how would you even know this? It has to be real. It has to be real. And, I think to myself now, like, if he only knew, there's still a lot of people that still believe the earth is flat. But here we are. I'm not here to make fun of you if you believe the earth is flat or round. That's not the debate we're having. But after he passed, I did get some criticism when I started sharing online my spirit mediumship and all of that. And I thought, what would he do? And this one comment, and it stayed with me for a long time. They were like, how can you be, because I said God in something, and I forget what it was, but I remember the hater. How can you talk about God and believe in God doing the work of the devil and the work that you're doing? I was like, well, because this work has actually brought me closer to God and closer to my spirituality than anything. And my dad has passed, and my dad's initials were G.O.D. So I was like, whatever, Sky Daddy loves me. And it just stuck. Anyways, that was a small bit of a side quest, but it's important because I had really started to doubt. I know it's weird, but a channel for other people a lot. And like messages come through and it's powerful and it's healing. But I had a few sessions where it was like, it was powerful, but in my perspective, it was like, I didn't feel like it was as good as it used to be. For example, let's say I saw apple. Well, usually I would have been able to be like green apple. So I'd be like, well, why am I not getting the specifics that it was a green apple and I'm just getting apple? So I was really letting my inner critic take the lead. I was really giving away my power. And weirdly enough, I was like, is my mediumship button, channel, whatever, is it broken? Maybe it just doesn't work. Maybe there was something I could do for a chapter or a period in my life, and that now I just can't do it anymore. So before leaving for Mexico, I said, Dad, you are coming to Mexico with me, and you are going to give me a sign. And you're going to give me a sign if I'm meant to do this work, if I'm meant to share the Zen Diva brand again, do the podcast, like if I'm meant to show up in this way, I need you to show me. So we're like a couple days into the vacation. We get a few little signs. Like my partner's dad has also passed away. So we kept getting little signs from him, little signs from my dad, my grandma. Like it was just, there were a lot of little spirit signs. But like nothing that was like, oomph. You know what I mean? You've been there too. You ask for a sign and you're like looking up and they're like, nothing. And they're like, okay, sign your sign. Or like you ask for a sign and then suddenly you see 111 or you get a dime or someone says something, you're like, was that the sign? Are you sure that was a sign? Or maybe was that someone else? And you start to doubt. And that's normal because we're in our human mind, right? Our mental body can be very strong that way. So one morning I woke up and I was like, listen, this vacation is almost over. I want the clearest, I'm going to be the most annoying client of Source. I said, give me the shiniest sign. If you are here, one, prove to me that you're here. And if you can prove to me that you are here in a very shiny sign, that will tell me that, yes, I am meant to continue to do this, that my pathway to mediumship or my channel is not broken, and I will do this work. Like if you've been in my world for a while, you're probably laughing because you're like, oh my goodness, Cindy, can you just do the thing? Like how many times do you have to negotiate with spirit to see if this is the type of work you have to do or not? I know. But I'm not like, there's a lot of mediums out there that are like, I was born with this gift, or I went to a school and developed this gift, and they're like convicted. And I'm like, I don't know. Just like, I think I was born with this, and then one day something happened and it was very clear that I could do this. And then I doubted, and then it became very clear again. And then, like, I still 40 some years later can't really tell you how I do what I do. It just happens. So it's a sunny day. We were very burnt at this point. If you've seen the pictures from Mexico, like, we wore sunscreen, and the sun was indeed sunning in Mexico, unlike today here in New Brunswick. So I had like a shirt on to protect my skin, and I was like, if we're going to have lunch, we need to have lunch somewhere that's covered. So we go to the Poolside restaurant and bar that it was like a burger buffet, but it was covered. And I said, perfect, that'll work. So we're crossing the pool, and everyone, like, they're playing the Caribbean music, like a Danza Kuduro on repeat. And it's fun. It's a vibe. We walk in the restaurant, grab our burgers, and we sit down to eat. And I take one bite of my burger. And I'm like, do you hear that? And my boyfriend's like what? The old 90s country song? Yeah, the old 90s country song. I had to grab my phone and hit record because I said, my family is never going to believe this. And he said, what are they not going to believe? The song that was playing was John Michael Montgomery, I Can Love You Like That. Now, fast forward to the 90s. My dad would travel back and forth about 2 hours to and from the Legislative Assembly to home. So he'd be there Monday to Friday, and then he'd be home on weekends. And on that highway, one beautiful night, there was a van that had broken down. So he stops his car, and like, cell phones are new at this time, but he has one, probably one of the giant one that comes in a bag. Who knows? Anyways, so he stops just in case this person needs help. And this person gives him a tour of the bus, and he says, oh, thank you so much for your help. And he's like, they're having a moment. So this man shakes my dad's hand and he says, nice to meet you. I'm John Michael. And my dad says, nice to meet you. I'm Greg O'Donnell. Like, just, just, hey, buddy. Hey, John Michael. Nice to meet you. I'm Greg. Okay, cool. And then this man, John Michael, proceeds to say, if there's anything at all I can do for you, I'm so grateful. Is there anything you need? My dad says, no, I'm good. Like, my dad thinking, like, what could you do for me? Like, you got a cool bus, but whatever. Well, back then, Ticketmaster wasn't a thing. So if you wanted concert tickets, you had to 24 hours ahead of time, sometimes 2 days ahead of time, depending on who the artist was. You packed your warmest clothes, you packed your sleeping bag, and you would go camp out at whatever venue they were selling tickets. For us at the time, it was the Moncton Coliseum. So while all of this is happening, my brother is outside, camped out, hoping to get John Michael Montgomery tickets for his concert. Imagine when Dad comes home and he tells my mom this story, and my mom is like, oh, you cannot tell the kids this. And he's like, why not? And my mom's like, are you insane? Do you not know what just happened? So obviously, Dad being Dad, he still told us. And that was it was such a joke for a long time. Like, remember the time, like, you met John Michael and nothing you could do to help, or nothing he could do to help you. And the fact that we are in a restaurant, we are like a poolside beach bar in Mexico in 2026, when all day they've been playing fiesta music and Caribbean music, and everyone's dancing and having a good time. And randomly, John Michael Montgomery comes on the speaker, like on the restaurant radio. Okay. I knew that I had to relaunch the Zen Diva podcast and share my stories and continue to be a medium for people who have not yet trusted their own abilities to receive messages from spirit. And that synchronicity was like, it was so funny. And the irony is, when it comes to this type of sharing, I love sharing stories that then can also apply to life and like analogies. I thrive in that. And I think spirit loves that too. Like spirit reminds us that there's nothing serious happening here. And when I create this type of content, people love it. People resonate with it. It's what people like. You see yourself in my stories, or sometimes you see where your blind spots are or where you're getting in your own way. But the paradox or the irony is that, so although it's the content that gets me the most likes and views, it is also the content that gets me the most haters. So whenever I would get excited and I'd get momentum and I'd start creating, it'd be fun. And then I'd get a hater or I'd get a negative comment or I'd get someone who wasn't satisfied, and I would like shut the whole thing down because I couldn't handle the criticism. I couldn't handle the discomfort. But what I had to learn, or what I have learned, is if I am completely comfortable with me, with who I am, if I am comfortable and I believe in what I do, it doesn't matter if I have haters. So something in that moment in Mexico switched. And I realized like it doesn't have to, it doesn't, the comfort here, it doesn't have to mean, I don't have to learn how to be comfortable with, I thought I had to learn how to be comfortable with criticism. And I just had never nailed that. And what I realized is I don't have to be comfortable with getting criticism. Criticism is always going to suck. But I have to be comfortable and convicted enough in what I do and in myself that that won't even matter, that that won't make me stop. I'll still continue even though people aren't happy or people don't like what I do or people don't agree with what I do. And let's face it, in today's world, like that's just how the internet is. You get keyboard warriors all the time. And I see it time and time and time again. People start off and you love them and you love their content and you love everything they stand for. And then they start to grow a little bit and you're like, I still like them, but but then as soon as they really make it big, suddenly everybody comes out with the pitchforks and they hate them. Oh, you've changed so much. Na, 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 na. No, it's because we grow and we evolve. So the person who started still grew and evolved into something else. And why is it that we promote this whole personal development and self-help and evolution, and then we shame people for that very thing that we're promoting? Good mental health, and then heaven forbid you love yourself and you have good mental health because then somehow you're not authentic or you must want something or you must be taking advantage of people. So it shifted something when it came to comfort and when it came to criticism or critics. And then this morning, I just shared a funny reel about like how spirit sounds. And someone in the comments was like, how spirit sounds to me is a psychic medium trying to take advantage of people to take their money. I don't remember the last time I saw someone and I was like, give me all your money, I'm going to give you a reading. Or like, hey, how much money you got? Because, got a spirit message for you. Never. People find me, they come to me, and they pay me for a service. And hopefully they feel better when they leave. How many times have you paid for a movie and you went to the movie and you're like, that movie was shitty. I didn't like it. Like, you didn't ask for a refund. It was just, you did the thing and you didn't like it. And it happens. And then I thought even deeper and I was like, wait a minute. I remember when I was a kid going to Catholic church and they had these people volunteer work, unpaid labor, with these little baskets. And they would go from pew to pew. And what did you do? Well, you put money in the baskets, didn't you? So isn't that taking money for spirituality? Like taking people's hard-earned money for spirituality? Is that not the same? Interesting. So what I've realized is sometimes you're going to do things and it's going to make people uncomfortable. And they will attack you and who you are, and they will try to take away your power to make themselves feel more powerful instead of going within and learning how to be comfortable with their truth. Because all truths are true at the end of the day, but all truths are also incomplete. And what's true for you might not be true for me, and that can that not be okay? So, my question to you, I guess, the moral of the story today is, can you be so comfortable with who you are? Can you have so much love for yourself that you stop giving your power away to those who don't agree with you, or to those who may think differently than you, or to those who may be judging you? Because when you do that, it shifts. And even in Mexico, I got a sunburn. But the reason I got a sunburn is because I was finally by a pool without a t-shirt on top of my bathing suit. And that is not because I healed. What will other people think of me, or who's looking at me? No. The brain, the mental body was still doing all of that. My heart and my soul said, can you still be in that discomfort, but be comfortable in who you are, in the fact that you are somebody who loves life, who wants to make new friends in the pool, who wants to have a really great vacation, who doesn't want to rob herself of having fun just because she's not comfortable in her own body. So there can be discomfort sometimes, but can you be also comfortable with the discomfort? But what I'm hoping is that the discomfort comes from within, not from other people. Because the moment the discomfort comes from within, that is a signal that is your next thing to work on and to heal. Because I have a lot of people that I see in my clinical space that come and they want to heal some big trauma or some big thing from the past. And a lot of times they're like, I don't know if it's really affecting me, but I'm guessing it has to, because my life's, I'm holding myself back here and there, and it's got to be because of that. Well, is it? Or is it that you've been told that, well, it's got to be because of that, because that was a big deal? But what if maybe you've already healed the big deal and the big trauma thing, and it's actually something else? So usually in that case, I'll say, okay, let's hit the reset button here. Let's check with your subconscious mind. So we'll do some somatic work. Or let's work with the conscious mind and say, okay, what areas of your life right now do you feel either pain or discomfort, or that you're holding yourself back? And then usually with a little bit of digging, sometimes it has to do with the trauma, but sometimes it doesn't have to do with the trauma at all. It has to do with something else. But when you give away your power, then you have to go everywhere you've given it away, and you've got to go pick it up to then reconnect with yourself. And when we talk about alignment, that's what it means. Is, are you in alignment with yourself within your four bodies? So sometimes we can ask for signs, and we can ask for signier signs, and spirit will help us. But oftentimes, spirit won't help us in the way that we think it will, or it's not going to show up in the way that our logical mind would have made it out to be. But can you trust in your intuition and in your power anyways? Can you trust in what you're feeling right now and saying, I think this is what I need to work on, and see where that takes you? So here we are in the relaunch with a whole lot of stories to tell and a whole lot of moral of the story. So I look forward to sharing more stories with you. And I'd love to hear your signs. Like, what are some fun signs that you have received from spirit recently?